Hey, what is up YouTube? Kolst here with the last video for the Maw and Disorder Mini-Set for Murder at Castle Nathria. Nothing else of note to talk about, so let's just get right into the cards here. We're going to be talking about, I believe, Demon Hunter, Druid, Mage, and Shaman. So let's start off with the card we've already talked about, which was revealed before, which is Prosecutor Meltranix, the legendary for Demon Hunter. This is a 4-mana 2/6, kind of weird, kind of disruption card. I talked about a lot more in depth in the previous review, but essentially I think it's going to be okay. But a 4-mana 2/6 isn't great, especially given that's not guaranteed to do anything. You know, would you rather have this or a Forensic Duster? Probably a Forensic Duster, because that's almost just more often going to do something. So a lot of times it might even do more. So not amazing for a legendary. Next card we have in Demon Hunter, let's talk about this one. Sightless Magistrate. This is a 4-mana 5/4 battle cry. Both players draw until they have 5 cards. This is absolutely nuts if you expect to be the person who is aggressive and want to refill your hand. I mean, 5 cards, that is just disgusting, right? Obviously pretty darn useless if you expect to be the control deck yourself, but I mean, this is just going to be really, really good. So you're going to want to pick this a lot, especially if you draft the aggressive Demon Hunter deck. I mean, this is the perfect card for you. But I guess it's worth noting, even a control mirror, I mean, if both players have a bunch of cards anyway, it's still a 4-mana 5/4, so it's okay. And let's move on to the third card here, which is All Fel Breaks Loose, a 5-mana Fel spell, again in Demon Hunter. This one's a common. Summon a friendly demon that died this game. Infuse 3 demons, summon 3 instead. So infusing with 3 demons is very hard, and we can look at the card pool for Demon Hunter in the next rotation, which was leaked, which I talked about in the previous video. And in here, there are some small demons. Of course, there's ways to get Illidari to actually... Oh, these aren't even demons, so you can't even do that. It's pretty hard. It's going to be pretty darn hard to infuse 3 demons, because there actually just aren't that many demons. There are a couple good demons, you know, like Priestess of Fury, Illidari, Inquisitor, or also Pit Commander. If you can respawn any of these, that automatically makes it worth it. But these are, you know, this is an epic, this is a rare, and this is a rare, so you're just not likely to have them. So most decks, this is probably just not going to be what you want. But if you happen to have these things, then maybe you want to think about it. However, even in that case, it's a little greedy to take a combo piece like this. But with that, that is it for Demon Hunter. Basically just one really, really good card for aggro to enable that kind of emptying your hand Demon Hunter. So with that, let's move on to Druid. Druid is getting at least 2 really good cards here, actually. The first one here is Attorney at Maw. 2-mana 1/3, choose 1, silence a minion, or give a minion immune this turn. Note that you can do this to your minion or an enemy minion, which means you might actually want to silence your own minion. Why you would want to make your opponent's minion immune, I don't know why, but if you wanted to, you could do that. But overall, this is just an incredibly flexible card. You know, Death Speaker was very good in Arena, 3-mana 2/4 immune. This does that just as efficiently, basically, on a slightly worse body. But also it's just a silence. So it's a card that no matter what, you're going to be able to do something with it. It's 2 situational effects that you can't always get use of, but combined, you're going to get something good out of this. So this is just a really, really good card. You're always going to want to take this pretty much. Next card, however, which you won't want to take is Due Process. We talked about it in a previous review. For the rest of the game, players draw an extra card to start your turn, a nature spell. So this just makes spell discoverers and random spell generation in Druid worse. You will never want to take it. Literally never. Then the last card we have here for Druid is Incarceration. This is a 3-mana rare spell. Choose a minion. It goes dormant for 3 turns. So Maiev was a legendary, a 4-mana 4/3 that made a minion dormant for 2 turns. This is an extra turn, and I mean, especially if your opponent plays like just a big 8-drop or something, any big late game minion, and it goes dormant for 3 turns, they basically just lose all of that mana they spent on it. Because I mean, 3 turns, the game's probably going to be over realistically, especially with them playing minus that one big minion, which could be a giant taunt minion as well. A dormant minion cannot taunt, right? So you can get through things as well. This might as well just be 3 mana, just silence, remove a minion. It's just completely absurd. This is a huge weakness of Druid, is that they're not able to do this typically, but I guess in Constructed they realized that Druid hadn't covered up every single weakness it had, so they decided, oh, let's just kill off the last weakness Druid had, which was dealing with big minions. So an absurdly good card. basically a much better version of Mulch. It's going to enable a more control style of Druid, especially. I do believe they're getting like Marsh Hydra back, so you're going to be able to play controlled Druid quite a bit more again. I think they still don't have like AoE board clears. But yeah, they have some very good things now. And with that, we move on to Mage. So Mage, as with every class, is getting 3 cards. The first one here we'll talk about is Objection. This is a 3-mana secret for Mage, rare. When your opponent plays a minion, counter it. So counterspell, but minions, counter minion. Compared to a lot of the other cards, you know, Kidnap is kind of like this, but Kidnap, your opponent can get the Battle Cry twice. It's a little weird. This just completely counters it, so that does mean that they don't even get the Battle Cry, so this just makes this very good. Unless it catches something really small, it's going to be very valuable. So this is still not an amazing card, but there's some secret synergies which make it better, and also among the Mage secrets, this is one of the best, if not even the best one, period. So pretty good card for Mage here. We move on to the next card here, which is Life Sentence. 4-mana rare spell, remove a minion from the game. So if you remove it, I believe if there is like a graveyard type effect, they don't show the graveyard in Hearthstone, but it does exist, you know, to resummon minions that have died, for example. If it's removed, it doesn't even go to the graveyard, it's just gone. And of course, it's not going to trigger a death rattle because it didn't die, so this is a 4-mana silence removal. Basically, a much better version of Polymorph, because it just doesn't leave a 1/1. Very good card. This has been something Mage has been lacking in Arena for quite some time, basically since they removed Polymorph. I know Devolving Missiles have been in, but that's going to be rotating out, but it's going to be replaced by this. So obviously any type of control deck wants to have effects like this, just very good to have. So Mage is going to like this card very much. It's going to be nearly an auto pick as well. And the last card we have here is Contract Conjurer. This is a 6-mana 6/6 common card, costs 3 less for each secret you control. This is the type of card which I would say baits people into overdrafting secrets, but honestly, I mean, this is a huge payoff for having secrets, and there's ways to, you know, discount secrets to 0 mana to combo with this. It's very good, because a 6-mana 6/6 by itself is not great, but it's not that bad. You can take them sometimes you just don't have a choice, and yeah, getting a 3-mana or even a 0-mana 6/6 is huge payoff. Very good for this kind of synergy card. Just very low, rather low risk, but extremely high payoff. So it is a good card. Not necessarily like an auto pick, not necessarily a reason to force secrets immediately, but it's a good enough card that you will probably want to take it sometimes. And with that, we move on to the last class we're going to be talking about here, which is Shaman. So Shaman has one card, which again was revealed before, Totemic Evidence. 1 mana, choose a basic totem and summon it, infuse 3 totems, summon all 4 instead. I said pretty much a card that you're not going to be infusing all that often, but you might want to take it just for a 1-mana heal totem or a 1-mana strength totem, or even maybe a 1-mana taunt totem, but not a great card, but not unpickable either. Going to be okay. Next card we have here is Framester, a 3-mana 3/3 rare card. Battle Cry, shuffle 3 framed cards into the opponent's deck. When drawn, they overload for 2. So when my opponent plays these cards, they always tend to draw them immediately. So that means you don't overload the turn that you draw it. Well, you do overload, but that means, you know, the next turn is screwed over, not the turn you draw it. So at least that means you can play around it to some extent, because you know when it's coming, so you can at least try to prepare for it that way. It's not like you just draw all of them and then your turn's done immediately. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's one of those things, it's just kind of luck of the draw, right? These types of cards don't tend to be very good, but also they tend to be understated more than this. You're only giving up 1 stat, right? And there is the chance that you just completely screw over maybe their turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, and that potentially could just win you a game. So overall, as much as I hate to say it, it's probably a decent card. I wouldn't value it super highly, but it's definitely not bad. Especially if you can start chaining them, imagine just kind of could get a little bit silly. And the last card we have for Shaman, drumroll please, saved one of the biggest ones for last. It is Torghast Custodian. What is a Torghast? I don't know. But anyway, this is a 8-mana 6/10. Battle Cry. For each enemy minion, randomly gain Rush, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. So there isn't an option that's like gain stats or something that's actually repeatable, right? You can only have each of these stats once. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So, I mean, if your opponent has 3 minions, he gains all of them, which means the Divine Shield and Rush combo allows you to kill one minion for free, and then with Wind Fury, you get to kill another minion, of course. Only up to 6 damage, of course. So this seems like kind of on the power level of a lot of other, these kind of giant minions they've been printing. Like, the one that comes to mind is like Demon Hunter, the Coil Fang Warlord, you know? It seems like it's gonna be just about that level of stats. That thing gives taunt, so this thing doesn't. But this thing leaves this Wind Fury threat that your opponent just has to deal with. And it might not match up super nicely against, you know, other giant minions, because it only is only a 6/10, and that just won't trade up against like a Deathwing, for example. But just generally speaking, yeah, I mean, this just cleans up a whole bunch of things. It's kind of like Walking Fountain 2.0, just way more stats, but it doesn't give you the lifesteal. Overall, I mean, if you want a big thing, you can't get much better of a big thing than this, so it just seems very strong. And Shaman oftentimes lacks really good big minions, and you want really big minions because, I don't know, you might want to criminal line up a giant minion. So yeah, it seems like something that Shaman's really going to like, because they tend to have kind of a value problem a lot of times, so this is just a really good tool in the toolbox for them. But with that, that is it for this review, and that is it for all the reviews for this mini set. Be looking forward to having these cards come into the arena on Tuesday, or at least looking forward to most of them, and I will be terrified of some of the others. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed all this. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Thanks a lot for hanging out. We will see you guys for the next one and in the arena.